So, whenever I read a passage like the one we just read in Romans, I can get a little bit depressed. I don't know if you're the same, but I like the passages that are about mercy and, you know, goodness and forgiveness and these long lists of sins and of things that we've done wrong. I can find a little bit depressing. But it's remembering that as we read just one chapter, it sits within the wider context of God's story, which is a story of Him coming and loving us with an infinite love, the way that a father would love a newborn baby, and the way that you see kind of sometimes um, friends standing beside one another through thick and thin. God is so much greater than either of those pictures in His love for us. And because of that love for us, He wants to see us thrive and He wants to see us grow. And what this shows is that we have turned away. It's really a kind of a statement of the world that we're living in. And actually, when you read this and you look at the world that we're living in, it's not that far off, really. I mean, it matches up. So it's a world that has really gone astray from the path that God lays out, which is how we are to behave in terms of a way that reflects and glorifies who He is and His name. And it says in a number of different places, there's this phrase that occurs three times in verse 24 and twice after that, where it says, God gave them over to the sinful desires of their hearts. God gave us over to this. And His mercy is when He interrupts us. And most of the time, when we think that God has corrected us, and God can correct us in a number of ways, not least usually through what I found in my life is through older and wiser Christians coming in and saying, hey Andy, you shouldn't be doing this and you should stop doing that. My initial reaction is, give me a break, or who the heck do you think you are? Stop speaking into my life. But normally, once I've calmed down, I've got, I hear what they say. Actually, it's like, gosh, thank goodness you told me, because I never would have seen that. If you hadn't said that to me, I would have carried on behaving like that and thinking that that was okay. And that's exactly the problem that's described. And you get that at the end of the verse, the end of the chapter. It says, they not only continue to do these very things, but they also approve of those who practice them. Sin isn't just something that dictates our actions. It twists our minds so that we actually think that some of this stuff is okay, and suddenly you can stop and you think, how did I get to this place where I thought that behavior was an appropriate way to behave? How did I get to that place where I thought that would be a good thing to do? And God's judgment is when He gives us over to that and He doesn't interrupt us. So Him speaking into this and speaking these things into our lives today, as much as it can seem harsh, it's His kindness. He is warning us. He is calling to us. As a father who might see his child go off on a path that he knows is the wrong way and he knows is only going to cause them hurt and pain, he would call them back, say, no, 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 it's this way. That's what this chapter of Romans is doing. It's saying, no, no, no to all these things. There's another way and there's a different path. And let's recognize that when God says this stuff, it's actually because of His mercy.